Let there be light, and there was light. Words of the said God. We are delving into the 14 gods of Genesis, and we are looking at the first letter of each god, meaning the first letter to the god's title, the title deed. So we are talking about the lettings or letters of Mother Eve, the contracts that Mother Eve gave out to the gods. Of course, the 14 gods we have listed on here. So I'll just put this list on here, and you can see this list all on the left where it's numbered. Hopefully you can see all of it. And we have also see how the gods collaborate, which is fantastic. So that gives us a sense of understanding that we are not all friction and confusion, that if we understand the makeup of the gods within us, we are able to establish that internal harmonious state that we have been wanting to achieve. Of course, in my experience, I can say that there is a way, or there are several ways, because I don't think it's just one way, but the way I know of and the way I believe it to be, and even in accordance with the teachings of Jesus Christ or the Bible, I would see it as really activating the Kundalini, having your pineal gland activated. Of course, you have to go through a preparation stage before you can do that, but I'm believing that that is what the resurrection is about. That is what renewing the mind is about. That's what being a new person, or being a child again, being a child again. Because for me, yes, definitely it's like being a child, because when you have had for me, having my Kundalini activated, it's like I had to relearn how to, it wasn't difficult, but relearn how to talk, how to behave, how to, of course, because to me, I'm the only one, like I don't know anyone else who's in that kind of state. And so it meant being in a solitude state for a while as well, because it's like a child being shy. You feel shy. You're not ready to just expose yourself or of what seem odd to the world that you are observing. So there are stages of this. So, but we are learning the gods. Now I am feeling that I am growing. I am past kindergarten stage at least. And that is exciting. So it's like being in a playground. And I believe that's what Mother Eve is requiring us to have fun with this new era, with new state that we are in. Mother Eve is calling us to say, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. And so she wants us to not only do that, but for us to do that, we need to acknowledge what that likeness is. That like state of being, that which we can attribute to Mother Eve. What is it? How do we know it? How do we recognize it? Of course, to me, understanding that we are of 14 gods is really a good place to start. Now you may think 14, oh my God, how am I going to get on understanding 14 gods? I can't even understand the one person that I know most well than anyone else, myself. And now you're asking me to understand 14 gods. 14 gods are in us. They channel and operate through us. And perhaps it's the lack of understanding of that operation that makes it confusing and not clear how to accept it. It makes it confusing of how we accept ourselves. And of course, how we accept ourselves is how we accept the other. Wouldn't it be nice that we got to understand, of course, for instance, that the 3 S's, many people who are watching this, I believe, would have read Think and Grow Rich, for instance, where there are 3 S's mentioned: silence, stillness, and solitude. And then these are things we could relate to. We think, oh, so that's the God operating in us then. That's when we are asked to be silent. We are asked to be still and know I am God. This is Mother Eve really talking with us. She's saying, okay, you have your fun, you run around, but what happens when we graze ourselves in the playground? We know who to call upon, but we don't necessarily have to wait till we graze ourselves to acknowledge that Mother Eve is there. Mother Eve is beside us, acknowledging us, and really calling us. And that's why she says this is the God we need to really recognize now, the called God. Call upon the called God. Whatever you want, call upon the called God. Call it out. Whatever you call out, the vocalization of something that you call, you are igniting the called God. The called God is really present then, of course. So we have looked at the gods so far. We have looked at their attributes. We have looked at their, I call it their expression numbers. We have looked at their position in the scriptures. Like, for instance, we had the created God was the first God of Genesis, the moved God, and the second, the said God would be the third, and so on. We have seen how they play out in this function, but now we also know that Mother Eve has asked us or required of us that we pay attention to this new order that the gods come. For instance, now we are meant to get onto the called God, which is in the 6th entry. Now this is where Mother Eve is really playing her games. This is the 6th entry here with the said God. The said God is, hold on, the called God is, has the numerical value of 1, and in the 6th position, but Mother Eve, which is the said God of the 3rd position, has a numerical value of 6. So we can see how the called God now, which has the numerical value of 1, has now come to 1, but also how the relationship with Mother Eve with the number 6, and with having not only the number 6, but it is divisible, the 3rd position, by 2. Another thing is that the called God has 6 letters. So we can see that there is a relationship, a strong relationship with the said God here. Both are divisible by the number 2, which means that the created God of the 2 value, they are able to have that collaboration or communication and say, okay, 2, now you are moving to 2nd place. The created God now is moving to 2nd place. The said God now has moved to the 6th position, and the called God to the 1st position. So we can see how the gods are collaborating. Now this is new to us, so perhaps it's going to seem a bit daunting or a bit, I hope not challenging, but all we need to do is call upon the called God. Help me out here. I'm learning about you. Help me out here. Called God. Call what it is you want into being. Called understanding. If you want understanding, you call understanding. Now I am calling forth understanding. I am now calling forth comprehension. I am now calling forth wisdom. And if we talk about wisdom, you are talking about where you are hinging on the same numerical vibration, meaning that, of course, because it was said that the world was created through wisdom, that the world was created. The word created is 11. 1 plus 1 is 2. So likewise is wisdom. Wisdom equals 11. 1 plus 1 is 2. So you can see how the correlation of the numerical vibrations really marry together. Hence, we are told, for instance, if you had a life path number of 8, for instance, you would be, it'd be more likely that you get on with someone who has 2 or 4 or 6, or someone who has the same sort of vibration, not an odd number, but an even number. And we can see 4, if you do the numerical value for the word 4, for instance, you would get 6, and so on. So, of course, apart from when you do the numerical value for the word 6, this is where Mother Eve is doing her sly thing. She's being sly here. This is where the serpent does the wave. But when we understand that, then we know it's okay. So if you had a numerical value of someone had a 7, for instance, a 7 vibration, and they were dealing with the 6, and you know the 6 is doing being studious and being steady and being foundational and strong, and the 7, you're like doing your little messing around or something. But you know, one can be tolerant with the other, or understanding, well, this is serpent doing serpent thing. Okay, so we have been looking at the first letters of the gods. So we have done the S's, meaning the Set God, the Saw God, and the Set God. And now we have done this created God, we have done the cause God and the cult God. We have done the breathed God and the blessed God, meaning the base. We have just been looking at the first letters. And we have done the M gods, of course. So far, what we have discovered, that each of these workings that we are doing here, should I call it fun, that we have been exploring here, we have found a common denominator of the number 8. The number 8, which coincides perfectly with Mother Eve's lettings, her 8 lettings, when she says, let there be light. In fact, when she says, let there be light, and there was light, I had also entered the verses of the scriptures that these lettings come into, which is Genesis of chapter 1, verse 3 and 3, 6, 9. I'm really excited about the 369 because I was trying to remember where this 369 was, and this is where Nikola Tesla comes in. If you watch on Nikola Tesla with the 369, and which shows up perfectly in our template, the sacrifice template, we have 369, 369, 369. That is when we add each of these numerical vibrations of the letters here. For instance, this would be 3 1s each, and 2s here and 3s here, as you can see. So when we add all this together, it does give us 369, 369, 369, which I can put on here, and 369 and 369. This is 9. So there we are doing Nikola Tesla on here, because according to Nikola Tesla, if you can find the secret or the meaning to 369, then really you are selling. That's my term. You do not have a problem. And this is where we understand that there is a requirement that we go through these blocks of the sacrifice template, meaning we learn the cycles of these templates or these blocks, and by learning of those we overcome, we develop new skin, we develop new shell, new like it will the snake, we develop this newness. And of course, by developing this newness, we activate, which is part of developing this newness, we activate the third eye. From the third eye, of course, we are able to see things from new heights. Okay, so these were Mother Eve's three, let's see, just to show you, perhaps you won't see all of it here, but Mother Eve's 8 lettings. So there we are with the 8 lettings. Okay, and the idea that I really want to explore is comparing the 8 lettings with the 8 beatitudes. But I have touched on it, but I just felt that going intuitively, it's important that we explore certain words and anchors, and to anchor on some hinges that will help us